views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, how are you? How you feeling? Hope all is well. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BXRX. Coming up on today's show, it's another good one. We'll hear from a tech entrepreneur whose company is making a significant impact in the Black community. Then we'll speak to a city council nominee who shares his vision for the community he serves. Plus, we'll learn about how long early voting lines and mail-in ballots may impact the results of this year's presidential election. After that, Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports, and then we'll learn about how one organization is improving the quality of life of its residents. So stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way. We're going to keep the doors open. We're open. Hey everybody, how are you? I'm your host, Dr. Bob, and you're watching Open. It's a live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. Stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, our first guest is the founder of the tech company, Open. And we're keeping it open today all day. And he joins us today to talk about the services offered by his company and to talk about the impact he has on youth in our community. Please welcome to the show, Dwight Peters. Dwight,
hey, good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Dr. Lee. I'm great.
Yeah. Dwight, you've been doing this for some time now, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Open is a little bit over a year old as a business. We got started last year, but yeah, it's been an incredible year. Definitely a challenging one with everything that's been happening so far in 2020, but we're here.
Yeah. Now, what inspired you to create this company and to do the things that you're doing in our community?
Yeah, so first off, Open is what I like to call a reliable same or next day repair, installation, and cleaning service. So we aim to be the most reliable way to help people get things done. The way how it started last year was I'm an entrepreneur. I started many businesses before. I was looking for a new challenge last year. And it kind of started with the help of my daughter. She broke my iPhone and I brought it to a phone repair shop in one of our local malls to get it fixed. And I just started to notice something. This was in the midst of Black Lives Matter and representation in our community and in our fields. And I noticed that there wasn't a lot of phone repair shops that were Black owned. So anytime I would go to a mall, I would always look around at the phone repair kiosk and I didn't see any representation. So that's kind of what started Open. I wanted to figure out how can you jump into some of these industries where there's not a lot of representation for us. So that kind of started the genesis of what became Open. We started repairing phones, and then over time we added more services such as laptop repair. Then we started adding home services such as TV mount and video doorbell installation. And we've been reaching our community, and they've been very supportive.
So I'm sure you set aside something for your daughter. Does she get like 10% of everything that comes through?
Yeah.
She's not listening, is she?
I don't know if I could disclose her, her investment agreement within the company. I think she'll talk about it when she's ready. She's 2.5. She turns 3 in January.
Oh, all right.
I don't want to disclose her, her private information, but she's definitely an investor.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But she was a major part of your thought process.
Yeah, for sure. She definitely played
10%. You said it live here on BronxNet.
It's totally fine.
That's good. So some of the services are, you said you repair drones and things of that nature?
So we repair phones, tablets, computers. We have a repair shop located right here in the heart of Harlem, right on 126th Street. Where we repair broken devices. And then we also have our home services where we go out to do TV mounting furniture assembly, video doorbell installations, anything people need help with. That's what we're aiming to provide. That service.
Yeah. And that phone repair thing is really, really big. I mean, people always, and they crack the screen or something like that, and the screen starts acting all funny. You can fix all of that stuff?
Yeah, we definitely can, man. I used to work at Apple, so I knew how the market was. So, you know, I brought on a lot of that experience here. We just wanted to have representation in this industry. You know, phone repair is a $4 billion industry. And, you know, we just wanted to put together some great technicians that can knock out some great work within our community.
PCs, MacBooks?
Yep. MacBooks, PCs, yep. If it has a power button, we could fix it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a unit that had a power button that went out. It was a tower.
We should talk.
Yeah. I mean, I got it fixed, but had I known, I would have, you know, now I know.
Yeah.
We can bring it to you. All right.
Sure.
So you've been in business for some time now, right? It was a few years?
Sir. So we just turned a year not too long ago.
And so what should customers expect from Open?
Reliability, right? We're using tech to change the handyman industry. So, you know, it's easy to book an appointment. There's flat rate pricing, there's upfront pricing. We take a lot of the guessing in the repair or installation service.
And you also have a mentorship program. Talk about that.
Yeah, so, you know, before COVID came on the scene, we had this really cool workshop, and this was inspired by my niece, Kyle. Back in November, I saw her for Thanksgiving, and I was trying to catch up with her. She's 10, and she was just glued to her iPad. Like, I couldn't get her attention, right? She's talking to me, but she's focused on the iPad. And Kyle knows we run a repair shop here for tech devices. So something just asked me in that moment, trying to get her attention. I said, Kyle, if you broke your iPad, would you want to know how to fix it? And she looked up to me. She was like, you mean I could open it up, Uncle? And I was like, yeah. And that's what started our initiative called Open It Up. So it's a workshop where we were bringing kids in. And we wanted them to find another way into STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, through their favorite devices. So we would bring them in and allow them to open up these devices, teach them how to fix these devices, and get them interested in possibly engineering. But that was pre-COVID. COVID definitely put a little bit of a damper on that, but we're excited to get that initiative back up and going again.
Yeah, I mean, how do you tackle that with the pandemic? People could still bring things in.
Yeah, as far as our repairs, yes, people could still bring things in. We have a spacious facility here. We keep it clean. We do it appointment based just to control the amount of flow of people in the building. And
you still make house calls?
Yes, we do make house calls, but there is a screening, a COVID screening that the clients go through in order for technicians to show up.
Now, Dwight, you can tell the products that are good or bad, because if it's really, really good, you'll see less of them. What do they bring in most often?
As far as repairs, definitely iPhones. iPhones are number one. People break them all the time.
I mean, they're good, but it's because people drop them, break them.
People just drop them. You know, so that's definitely our number one mode of business here at the shop. And now our TV mounting service, that's been growing pretty fast. You know, people are buying more and more TVs apparently. You know, we offer a great service. We're able to put them up on the wall. We're able to hide the wires. So people have been reaching out for that a lot. And our cleaning service, that's been picking up as well. We provide a COVID-19 disinfection service where our team goes out with full PPE gear. We've been working with a lot of restaurants, daycares to disinfect and, you know, help people get prepared for the second or third wave of COVID. So we're just trying to keep the community clean as well. But yeah.
I like that. All right. Yeah. And you can keep that going too, even after COVID, because you can say, hey, you know, if your apartment or your house accumulates a lot of dust, we know how to do that too.
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just want to no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, like I said, we're just aiming to make it convenient for people to get things done.
MacBook Pros, a lot of DJs use them. and they don't want to go past the 2012.
Why is not? What song? What guys?
I was happy that you asked, because it still has a lot of movable parts up to 2012. After 2012, everything's a part of that mainframe or whatever you call that motherboard.
Yeah, it's just soldered on, yeah.
So in order to change something, and then you got to change the whole motherboard.
Whole logic board, yeah.
Yeah. So, but up to 2012, you can still, all the parts are still interchangeable, and that's why a lot of DJs still like to use them.
So if you want to upgrade your RAM, you can just pop it out.
Max it out. Yeah, max it out.
So you're a DJ, what are you using, Serato?
I do.
All right.
I still have these records back there, but yes, Serato, I have everything. I have that and more inside of the computer. But listen, thank you for all that you're doing in our community. We really appreciate you. Where can we go to find out more about your work?
I appreciate it. People could go to our website. That's getopen.com. We spell open differently. We spell open, OPN. The reason why we left out the E is because, people come in with broken stuff. So we wanted to spell open broken as well. So it's getopn.com.
OPN can be OPM, other people's money.
I didn't want to say it, but you brought it up. I didn't want to say it, but if anybody wants to invest, definitely give us a talk. Yeah.
Give me the website one more time.
It's getopn.com.
Dwight Peters, everybody, with open, OPN. Thank you so much, my bro.
All right, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break right here. I've got more coming up next, right here on Open.
When taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Remember, we're not just voting for president, we're also voting for local representation here in the Bronx. Vote411.org/ballot is a great resource to find out what other races are happening and who is running to represent your community. Simply enter your address, then click Show My Races. You will see a sample ballot displaying the presidential race and other local races taking place in your district. Early voting starts between October 24th to November 1st, and absentee ballots are due no later than November 3rd.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is the District Manager of Community Board 6 and also the City Council nominee for District 15. And he joins us today to talk about his campaign and the future he envisions for his district. Please welcome to the show, John Sanchez. John, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What inspired you to run? I mean, I see you got your sneakers on. You showed us before we took this shot here. You got your sneakers on. You're ready to run.
Always ready to run. What inspired me to run is very simple. You know, growing up on 184th and Park Avenue in the Central Bronx, I wanted to make this a neighborhood where people feel like they can stay in, raise a family, and thrive rather than feel like they have to leave the Bronx to make it. And really just making the neighborhood better and making it one where people feel like they can return to rather than flee from.
What are some of the issues? Everybody has issues. I have issues, you have issues, but the issues that we're talking about or what the constituents are concerned about, some of the issues that you are heartfelt, that you're passionate about, that you're running on.
Number one issue is jobs. You know, we had high unemployment pre-pandemic. Now we have Great Depression levels of unemployment, and specifically for people without a college degree. You know, there's so much talent in the Bronx, but people tend to think if you don't have a college degree, you need to be relegated to a minimum wage job. I completely reject that. We need to be investing in jobs that don't require a college degree, but that do pay well. And I'm very passionate about education. I mean, I was fortunate. My parents were able to afford Catholic school, and that allowed me to go to NYU and so forward. But that opportunity isn't available to the vast majority of young people in the Bronx. So what are we doing to make our schools better and so they can thrive? I mean, my story shouldn't be a diamond in the rough. I think the Bronx is a field full of diamonds, and we need to expose that talent to the world.
Yeah. What are some of the things or challenges that you're facing right now as the district manager during the pandemic?
Well, the big challenge, I mean, we're hearing complaints about people having issues with finding food, dealing with remote learning. You know, you have mom and dad at home trying to work, but then they're trying to make sure that their child gets their learning in. And then I think the big thing hovering over people is rent. When will all of those months of past due rent be due? How will they make that work? I mean, it's hard for people to make 1 month rent versus 5-6 months. That's what I'm really concerned about, the rent.
Yeah. You have any suggestions on what people should do? Because that is a major concern, and people, they're worried.
Well, number one thing, perfect segue, vote November 3rd, because we won't be able to deal with the rent issue unless we get federal relief. And the federal government is the entity that can provide funding and relief for renters, small landlords, and businesses. And we need a new president to make that happen.
Yeah. What do you see out there in the Bronx as far as early voting? Long lines?
Early voting, it's been great. There's been long lines, which is encouraging. There's been big turnout. And usually there is big turnout during a presidential election. I think the lesson for next time is to make sure that we have more early voting sites. We have expanded hours. And we probably should have early voting for a whole month before the election, just so it's easy for people that don't have the time to wait 5 or 6 hours in line.
So this is not election day anymore.
Exactly. Make it an election month so you could go whenever your schedule work permits.
Yeah. But, you know, I wish they would do something like that. That way, yeah, you can feel comfortable about exercising your right to vote. But there's so many trying to keep people from voting. You know, let's keep you in the dark. But, you know, we have to wake up our people and say, hey, look, we need to get out there and exercise our vote, because people are trying to keep you from doing it. That's why it's important.
100%. And voting should be as easy as going to the supermarket. You have a bunch of options. You go whenever you want. And there's simple things that the state could do to make this easier. Automatic voter registration. Same day voter registration. If you're not registered, you know what? I want to get registered the day of the election and just vote. We just need to make it easy for everyone. If we care about democracy, regardless of your party, make it easy and simple for people to vote.
Yeah. You know the people who are running in your district?
Yes, there's 6 other people running, and we're looking forward to a competitive election.
You're good. You didn't name the names of these people. I didn't want to give them any props or anything like that. But there's 6 other people running.
Yes, yes.
If you were debating one of them, what would some of the things, what would you be talking? I know you'd be talking about the rent and some of those things, but, you know, there's somebody on the other side hitting you with different things. How would you approach that?
Yeah, well, I think my argument or my case for why I should be elected is because I have the most experience. As district manager of Community Board 6, I've transformed what a community board can do, sponsoring open gyms for young people, sponsoring financial literacy classes, sponsoring fitness classes for young people, even having a scholarship contest for high school students. So we've transformed what a community board can do. I'll do the same thing at the city council. I'm not just talking about ideas, I have a track record.
Yeah, you're doing some things. I see that you secured a $200,000 grant for Bronx small businesses.
Yes. Well, the Department of Small Business Services, they had this program where they would help small businesses improve their storefront facade so it looks more pleasing, better sight lines. And they reached out to every community board in the Bronx. My community board was the only one to respond. So I gave SBS a tour of East Tremont, and they decided they're going to give $200,000 to businesses on East Tremont. That's just one example of how I'd be different in the city council, taking that initiative.
There you go. So you're going to help people save money and help businesses make money.
That's what we want. We want people to rise. We don't want people to be low income forever. We want people to have that opportunity to rise up, make a better life for them and their families.
Well, good luck with you with everything that you're doing in the community board and the 2021 race, city council. What district is that again?
15th district, Fordham Road, West Farms, Allerton, East Tremont.
I got some cousins over there in Allerton. I got to give them a call.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. Where can we learn more about you?
Yeah. The website is johnsanchezforny.com. Instagram, John Sanchez NY.
There you go. John Sanchez. Thank you so much. And good luck with everything.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Really appreciate it.
You got it. All right. We'll take a break right here. We've got more. We're running. We got it going on Open.
Listen up, Bronxites. Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Are you safely hitting the polls for in-person voting? Or are you voting absentee by mailing in your ballot? New York offers absentee ballots by mail to voters who will be unable to vote in person for any reason. Absentee voting can be confusing, but it's safe and has become more common during coronavirus due to fears of crowding when voting at poll sites. In the primary elections, more than 500,000 ballots were rejected and discarded due to human error. So before you start filling in your ballot, make sure to keep the following in mind. Fill in your bubble selections with a blue or black ink pen only. Never mark any X's or check marks as opposed to filling these bubbles in. Don't forget to sign and date the back of the ballot envelope. And finally, mail your absentee ballot before the deadline, November 3rd. You can also drop it off in person at an early voting poll site between October 24th and November 1st, at a poll site on Election Day, November 3rd by 9 p.m., or at the Bronx County Board of Elections office no later than November 3rd by 9 p.m. Stay informed, stay safe, and most importantly, make sure you mail your absentee ballot or wear a mask, remain 6 feet apart, and safely head out to the polls to have your vote count and your voice heard.
back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is the staff reporter for City and State New York, and she joins us today to discuss the impact of long lines during the early voting process and mail-in ballots and the impact that that may have on the results of this year's presidential election. Please welcome to the show, Rebecca C. Lewis. Rebecca, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
So you've been covering these things, these long lines. What have you seen so far?
You know, the long lines have been both encouraging and to a degree discouraging. You never like to see long lines. I've not heard, that's not true. I've heard very little complaints. People are very excited. They're willing to wait online. But it's still troubling to see that at places in the city that people are waiting 3, 4, sometimes even 5 hours, and really speaks to both the enthusiasm and excitement that people have about voting, but also to a degree the lack of preparedness by the City Board of Elections to know exactly how many people they should have been expecting and to allocate poll sites accordingly.
Some people pull a red flag about voter suppression, but I see that there's an overwhelming enthusiastic feeling about getting out to exercise your right to vote.
It is true that any time that someone who is trying to vote has difficulty, it is in some ways a form of suppression, but it's still true. It's easier than ever to vote in New York City this year. Absentee ballots are expanded. That's never happened before. This is our first presidential election with early voting. It's to be expected to a degree that there might be some kinks, and this just turned out to be an incredibly high-profile, contentious election that people want to get involved in. And of course, election day itself. Polls will be open for 15 hours, 3 ways to vote. It's brand new in New York.
What do you tell people about mail-in ballots and all the other methods about voting? Because I know you have to get that mail. A lot of people don't trust the mail-in ballots because they feel that it's not going to get there on time.
That has been a concern, and I think that's part of the reason that the early voting turnout was so large. There are people concerned about the mail, about things getting there in time, especially in the primaries, when thousands of ballots were thrown out because they were missing postmarks, they arrived too late. Voters should ballots will be counted if they're postmarked on election day, and a recent court case decided that if they're postmarked, I believe a day, maybe 2 days after, apologies, not postmarked. If it's missing a postmark and received a day or 2 days after, it'll still count. Previously, that was not the case. So if it's postmarked on election day, it will still count. But there are still ways to drop it off without the mail. Voters were able to drop it off at early polling sites. Voters will still be able to drop it off at their election day polling sites or at the Board of Elections offices. So if they're not, if they see long lines, if they don't want to vote in person, but they still want to drop off their absentee ballot, there's still ways around mailing it as up until election day.
Yeah. What might you think the mail-in votes and early voting, how would that impact our election? What do you think about that?
It's so hard to tell right now. We obviously saw a lot of mail-in ballots for the primary and in New York City that really delayed getting results back. I think that, the Board of Elections, I think, has learned from the primary, and they've been preparing to be able to count those ballots faster. But, both are so new. It's impossible to know about, exactly what kind of impact that'll have on turnout. We don't know yet if all the absentee ballots and early voting is going to mean that no one's going to show up on election day. I mean, I don't expect that to happen, but it's totally unprecedented. I think that a lot of people, a lot of observers, a lot of election rights advocates are seeing this as potentially record turnout now that there are 3 ways to vote.
Yeah. From what you've seen, the long lines all across the country, watching TV, listening to radio, and from your personal experience on these long lines, what do you feel? I mean, where's it going to go? Who do you think is going to win, or who may win this election?
I am a simple New York City and state politics reporter. Yeah. I don't know if it's my place to weigh in who might win nationally. It's so hard to tell. I can say with a degree of certainty that Biden will win New York. So I don't think that much is in question. It's so hard to tell. I think that there's record turnout, and high turnout has traditionally helped Democrats. But we don't know yet. We don't know if the turnout is conservative Republican voters or first-time independent voters who might be trying to back Trump. It's so hard to tell. It's everyone thought they knew what was going to happen in 2016. So I'm not gonna make any hard and fast predictions.
Yeah, I know. Everybody was like, and then when it happened, so you're already looking forward to 2021. Tell us what you're working on.
I am working on the 21 and 21 campaign to get 21 women elected to the city council in 2021. Right now there are 12 women, which is 12 out of 51, pretty low percentage considering that women make up more than half of the city's population. And they've recently rolled out endorsements, 32 Democrats, 33 total, 1 Republican. And actually the first major organization to do ranked choice endorsements. They've got first, second, third choices. It's very exciting. Ranked choice voting is the big unknown for 2021. I've been covering it since the Charter Revision Commission. And it's going to make it a very exciting election. And I certainly hope that the enthusiasm that we're seeing for this election carries over to the municipal elections next year.
Yeah, that's what we keep telling people. Make sure you exercise your right to vote, whether it's local or national or state or national or whatever. Exercise your right to vote. Where can we go to find out more about the wonderful work that you're doing?
You can go to cityandstateny.com. You can sign up to get magazines delivered if you work for the city, if you work for a nonprofit, if you're a government worker, teacher, you can get it for free. So, we're always looking to expand our readership and always happy to help keep New York City and New York State informed about their local politics.
And we thank you so much. Stay safe.
You as well.
Rebecca C. Lewis, City and State New York staff reporter. We appreciate you and thank you for all the work that you're doing in our community.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. Coming up next, we'll keep giving it to you. Next on Open.
Listen up, Bronxites. Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Are you safely hitting the polls for in-person voting? Or are you voting absentee by mailing in your ballot? New York offers absentee ballots by mail to voters who will be unable to vote in person for any reason. Absentee voting can be confusing, but it's safe and has become more common during coronavirus due to fears of crowding when voting at poll sites. In the primary elections, more than 500,000 ballots were rejected and discarded due to human error. So before you start filling in your ballot, make sure to keep the following in mind. Fill in your bubble selections with a blue or black ink pen only. Never mark any X's or check marks as opposed to filling these bubbles in. Don't forget to sign and date the back of the ballot envelope. And finally, mail your absentee ballot before the deadline, November 3rd. You can also drop it off in person at an early voting poll site between October 24th and November 1st, at a poll site on Election Day, November 3rd by 9 p.m., or at the Bronx County Board of Elections office no later than November 3rd by 9 p.m. Stay informed, stay safe, and most importantly, make sure you mail your absentee ballot or wear a mask, remain 6 feet apart, and safely head out to the polls to have your vote count and your voice heard.
Retired Major League Baseball umpire John Hirschbeck joins us this morning. John, thank you so much for coming on. I was just curious, with a great World Series going on, if you miss being on the baseball diamond this time of year.
You know what, Bobby, I get asked that question all the time, and no, not since I walked away. 41 years of doing anything was enough. And, 7 years in the minor leagues and then 34 in the big leagues. When I left, I was ready to go. It was time, and I had had enough. It was time to come home and get more active with my hobbies and spend more time with my wife and daughter. So it's worked out great. Love being retired.
Well, John, talk about leaving at the right time. Game 7 of the 2016 World Series, our BronxNet cameras were there to see that one. Got a chance to chat with you a little bit back then. And what an epic series that was, as the Cubs, of course, come back and, finally end this 108-year drought of not winning a World Series. This World Series has been good, but I think that one goes down as one of the greatest of all time.
After that World Series, I always said it'd be hard to beat that one because the games were exciting. It had everything, especially Game 7.
Your lifetime has really been remarkable. I know right now you have some items that are up for auction. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I really think your life deserves either a book or a movie. I don't even think I could do justice to it this morning.
Do you know, if your listeners, like you said, we'll get into it later, but if they go to themagicofmichael.com, there's, as you scroll down, there's articles, and there was one written called The Umpire's Sons, and it was written shortly after our son John passed away. And really, if we ever did a book, and I'm talking to a few people, I want it to be the right author that writes it with us, just about dealing with life and tragedy and losing two of our children. So that will be our goal, and that's definitely on the table. We're getting closer.
As you mentioned, of course, losing two sons to a deadly disease, you in your lifetime coming back to umpiring in the major leagues twice from cancer, just a remarkable career on the baseball diamond. The first years in the major leagues from 84 to 99 in the AL, and then, of course, fans, I think, getting a chance to see you in both leagues from 2000 to 2016. What would be the story that you would want to share with our viewers this morning in terms of getting involved with this incredible auction that you have? Because there's over 500 items, many things signed by some of the greatest players of all time, even some of the presidents that you've gotten a chance to see by being involved in the game of baseball,
right.
The game of baseball. And then, of course, it goes to such a great cause.
Shortly after Michael passed away, he was 27. He died in April of 2014. Very, very unexpected, shocked, to say the least. And although he always had seizures, and that's what ultimately caused him to pass away during his sleep that night. But friends of his came up to us and said, we'd like to do something to honor Michael's memory, and we'd like to do a golf tournament. From that, it evolved into a dinner, a golf tournament and a dinner. And our first guest was Joe Torre, just did a phenomenal job. And since then, we had Jim Leland. 2 years ago, we had Terry Francona and Jim Tomei. So the Magical Michael came about, and we work closely with Akron Children's Hospital. We've donated over $250,000 since the Magical Michael came about. Our theme, our motto is, our mission statement is helping families endure the curveballs of life. And with that, we've done a lot of programs to help children, inner city children, underprivileged, and a lot with children with disabilities. We've done everything from build ramps, wheelchair ramps, to making handicapped bathrooms. We've gotten some companion dogs for some children. We do a special Christmas thing for the entire families of about 5 or 6 groups at Christmas time. So it just goes on and on. We've done a lot in the community. We've done a lot in Northeast Ohio. And actually what happened with this was I'm always trying to think of ways to raise more money. And all these things were in our home. And I said to my wife once, I said, this really, it does mean a lot to me. But I said, if we can, make some good money from this, and if it helps one child, then it's worth it. So with that, a good friend of mine, started coming down here, hour and a half ride from where he lives in Ohio, and just helping me out and categorizing everything and getting it all done and labeled and put together. And then Brandon sent a van from New York. We loaded everything up, and now it's going on.
You know, John, how have you been able to be so resilient in life? I mean, you talk about curveballs in life. You have come back from so many things that a lot of people wouldn't be able to come back from.
Well, obviously the hardest thing is losing both of our sons. And to that, I tell friends, I say, you know, you have to make a choice in life, and it's not something you can do immediately after, but at some point come to terms and say, okay, I can let it change me as a person and be of no use to my wife, to my other daughters, to friends, to family, or say, you know what, things happen in life, and it's not that God does them, it's God's strength, I think, that helps us get through them. But you eventually have to say, why not me? And with that, you just say, okay, no day is ever going to be the same, but I'm just going to take them, make the most of them as they come, and do the best I can, be the best person I can.
You know, you were behind the plate when Barry Bonds hit number 756.
Right.
Roy Halladay pitching a no-no. You were part of that in the playoffs. I think some fans, of course, know about that. More recently, Don Larson, the only other person to do that, of course, pitching the perfect game in the World Series. Red Sox clincher in 2013, and then what a way to exit with the World Series in 2016. Of all those highlights, is there one that you say to yourself, I'm so happy that I got a chance to be involved in that particular game?
It would probably be the World Series in 16. Being Cleveland near here, and that was Michael's team, and he and Terry Francona were so close. I have one story, though, if I can share with you. When people say, like, what are the greatest moments in baseball? After John passed away, he died in our arms at our place in Florida. We came back to Ohio for the burial, and then shortly after, my wife said, you know, there's really nothing else we can do here. Why don't we go back down to Florida, you know, and try to get on with our lives? And I was scheduled in Sarasota, and I was scheduled to work the bases. The Yankees were playing there, and I thought, you know, if I'm going to do this, I need to work the plate and you know, challenge myself, just see how I handle things. So I did, and that day, Buck Showalter came out with the lineup cards and brought basically the starting team. You know, they were all out there. All the guys from that year they all came out, and I literally, you know, to tell me how sorry they were about John's passing, and literally had tears in my eyes at home plate. And that's when I knew, you know, I'm part of a very special family. You know, people on field, whether it's trainers, whether it's umpires, whether it's players, it's that on family group. And that was one of the most special moments of my career.
John, great story. I mean, the auction will be available through November 14th. What is the ultimate goal in trying to help so many of these families, just basically empowering them to believe that there is hope from the curveballs of life?
Always, and to see the looks on children's faces and parents when, you know, we know firsthand. That's one thing I think that makes it so special is Denise and we know firsthand what it's like to face the curveballs of life, and to be able to help these people to make their lives better, easier, and a lot of times illnesses are terminal, but it's just that quality of providing that space in their life where you can make things as good as possible, providing them with the things that we do, along with talking with certain people. So our goal is to hopefully make enough money in this auction that the Magical Michael is going to go on forever.
John, a great umpire and an even greater man. I think all of the things that you're doing right now to try to help people and to highlight some of the things that are going on. It's kind of something that I think all people can aspire to try to do right now, especially considering all that's going on in the world.
There's so much going on right now. And if we all maybe step back and go out of our way to say hello to somebody and make their day a little bit better, it would help all of us.
John, I appreciate you taking the time today, and best of luck with the auction. We definitely encourage people to log on to check out some of these items and to support a good cause. Thanks again so much for taking the time, John. Best of luck.
My pleasure. Thank you, Bobby.
Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Remember, we're not just voting for president, we're also voting for local representation here in the Bronx. Vote411.org/ballot is a great resource to find out what other races are happening and who is running to represent your community. Simply enter your address, then click Show My Races. You will see a sample ballot displaying the presidential race and other local races taking place in your district. Early voting starts between October 24th to November 1st, and absentee ballots are due no later than November 3rd.
Welcome back. Hey, our next guest is a member of the Cedar Avenue Block Association, and he joins us to speak about the services his association provides for the residents in his community. Please welcome to the show, Victor Saldaña. Victor, welcome. Victor, first time on?
Hi, first time on.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you for having me.
Got you covered like a blanket. You're in good hands.
Awesome.
Our producers said they're going to take good care of you.
That's good. As long as they get the good angles and put some makeup filter, I think it should be good.
Hey, tell us about your wonderful block association over there.
Great. Thank you for having me, Bob. So just to give you some background, we've been thinking about forming this block association for maybe the past 5 years. And it's always been, and most of our neighbors been in the back mind, and we really never connected. And it wasn't really until the pandemic that it hit us that we really didn't know each other as well. And all the things that we've been pushing to the side, such as quality of life issues like noise, trash, and we have a lovely park that we're trying to revitalize again here at University Woods, that we should get together, get to know each other, and see what resources are out there. And if the resources are not out there, roll up our sleeves and take care of the community ourselves, right? So many of us have different work schedule. We work at healthcare, we work as essential workers, and little by little, through knocking on doors, getting to know each other, social media, constant meetings, that we now are sort of established ourselves and are doing all these wonderful things like cleaning up the streets, making sure people know where to go to vote, making sure that they know who to reach out for certain issues that are happening on the streets in our community. And one of the first hurdles that we tried to tackle on was back in the summer months, that all throughout the city, and especially here in the Bronx, we saw an increase of noise crime, right? So all of us got together. We all knew that this was happening. We thought that some homeowners might have had houses that didn't have enough insulation, but this was even happening in the residential luxury buildings next door that are supposed to have great insulation. So we knew that these were not just one person's issues, but it was pretty much the whole community issue. And we got together to really just, instead of being one voice, all of us together have a stronger voice. And we've been participating in different events that we host, but also trying to connect with other block associations, other home tenant associations, and try to build a larger group to actually tackle some of these issues.
Yeah, it seems like the pandemic has brought to light a lot of these things that you wanted to do, but since it has brought you guys closer together, it gave you an opportunity to think about all the things that you wanted to do and needed to do within your community over there on Cedar Avenue.
Correct. And I think this is actually a reflection of that us among our neighbors and people we have met along the way, that people love the Bronx. People want to stay here, right? We don't want to move out of the Bronx. And we want to make sure that people understand that we might not get all the resources, but people that live here want to stay here, and we're fighting to stay here. We're trying to make sure that our community is vibrant, that they get the resources. Many people just don't, sometimes even among ourselves, we don't know the beauty that lies within our communities.
Yeah. How can the residents come together and help you out a little more in the areas that you see that's important?
Right. So I think the first thing is making sure that we get to know each other. They reach out, we get involved in meetings, we plan it out. We have a core group of members that are really dedicated, that they have the bandwidth and are really involved in the community boards, are involved in other aspects of local government to actually know the resources. So right now, we're still looking out for additional members, people that want to be able to go on to additional meetings for the community boards. For example, our group is divided between two community boards, which is Community Board 7 and Community Board 5. So the majority of us have been going to Community Board 7, and we need more people that be able to go to Community Board 5 as well. So that way we're not working in silos. But I will tell people to please reach out, go to the website, send us an email, let us know how you like to help out. We take any volunteer, be it like maybe you can spread the word via social media, or you can help us out for an hour to plant the flower bulb in the park. We're all open to any help that's possible.
So you got it looking really, really nice around there, huh?
Yeah, we're trying our best. It's a beauty, like it's a hidden gem, right? And we know that sometimes it's because it's far away from people don't know that it exists. For example, we have the park is called University Woods, and during the pandemic, we had a lot of neighbors that were stuck at home that they felt they had no park to go to. Many would go to Bank Cortland, which is a great park too, or we'll have to go all the way down to other parks like Central Park or Pelham Bay, which is a bit far away for us. But many didn't know that there was this beautiful park in their backyard that has like natural trail hikes, and people can just go 10 minutes, get away, feel like they're in nature, and then just go back to the home.
That's good, man. Hey, where can we go to find out more of what you're doing so other neighborhoods can maybe join in and see you guys as a great example and try to follow along some of those same lines?
No, great. So you can actually go to our social medias. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can also go to our website, which has more details, which is www.bxcaba.org. So bxcaba.org, which is short for Cedar Avenue Block Association.
There you go. So
and
you're
I
doing
think
a
you
lot
can
of
probably see it on my background too.
I see that. Let me take a closer look. There you go. I see it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your good work that you're doing out there.
No, thank you to all the volunteers. Thank you to near NYC Parks, different organizations, and our local elected officials who have provided supplies and making sure that, our people are being taken care of.
Yeah. Who are some of the people that are working with you? Give them a quick shout out.
Sure. So I'll give shout out to Fernando Cabrera's office, who has given us supplies for our events, NYC Parks, the New York Restoration Project with Bulbs, and the Partnership for Parks have been one of the most groups that have been helping us out. And of course, NYPD 52nd Precinct and the NYPD 46th Precinct have been helping us out with quality of life issues here.
All right. The Cedar Avenue Block Association doing their thing. Victor Saldaña, thank you so much.
No, thank you, Bob, and thank you, team, for having me on today.
You got it. Wow. Time has flown by, but it's a good thing. We got a lot of beautiful people that we had the opportunity to talk to, and we can't thank you enough. We have an attitude of gratitude. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank you all guests for joining us and you all viewers for tuning in and checking it all out. You can follow us or continue to follow us on BronxNet TV for continued coverage. Make sure you exercise your right to vote. Vote, vote, vote. It's your constitutional right. And always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day, and I'll see you on the radio over 107.5 WBLS. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll catch you another day, another way. I love you all. Peace.